Hi, it's Jan Johnson, and thank you again so much for tuning in. I'm really glad that you did. And I'm going to tell you a story today. At the end of the story, there's a point. And the story I want to tell you is that when I was growing up, my mom always referred to me as Jan's just a little bit different. And I don't know if I ever quite understood why she said that. You know, I was extremely dyslexic, wrote everything backwards. Also, I was more than a little obsessive compulsive OCD, and I also had ADD. None of these terms did I even come to understand what they meant until just several years ago, because they weren't really had labels or monikers on them back then. But maybe that could have been some of the ways she started out, at least saying I was a little bit different. Or maybe it even could have been that there was a lot of times I had this innate intuitive ability to kind of predict things or know things. I remember one time I woke up, I had had a dream the night before that my mom went on a shopping trip with my Aunt Phyllis and their car got hit by a train. Now, my mom never really did anything with my Aunt Phyllis, let alone go shopping, but I told my mom about that dream that morning when I woke up, and it turns out that she and Phyllis had planned to go on a shopping trip that very day. I remember she called up Phyllis and canceled the trip because of my dream. And it wasn't because my mom was superstitious. It was because evidently enough of those kinds of things had happened with me that she witnessed that she just decided not to chance it, I guess. So maybe that was it. Maybe it was because I was the only one in the family that moved away and moved on to Colorado until many, many years later when my youngest sister followed me here as well. But that could have been it. I was also the only one that went on to college, let alone get my master's. And then I got a job at corporate IBM and moved up, but heaven forbid I left that IBM corporate job to get in network marketing. Now that would have been more than make me a little bit different, right? In her eyes. So anyway, just this past weekend, I was at an event and spoke. And at that event, I brought that up about being just a little bit different. My mom saying that about me in her eyes. And I shared with the people in the audience that possibly they felt that they too were just a little bit different. After all, they had embarked on a profession that was considered outside of the norm by most people. But they also might be a little bit different because they were always the one in the family that could be counted on. They were always the one that was there for someone. They really hated to ask for a favor. And if they hated to ask for a favor, that can be a little bit difficult in our industry when you want to ask someone to do you a favor and try your service or try your product. And I was pointing that out. That was the point of my story in talking about that. And I could see a lot of heads nodding and people feeling that way. And after I had got done speaking at the end of the event, this great lady named Tamara came up to me. And she said she just loved that thought process of a little bit different and that it reminded her of the Munsters and Marilyn on the Munsters. Now, I don't know if you remember the Munsters or know the Munsters, but Marilyn was the really attractive young member of the family who kind of looked like Marilyn Monroe in her look and persona. But by the ghoulish standards of what someone looks like in the Munster family, she was very unattractive. And she was totally aware of her unattractiveness and knew that this is why she could not get a boyfriend kind of thing. Totally oblivious to the fact that the reason she couldn't get a boyfriend is because they were just so freaked out about her family and what they looked like and how they acted. But it's an interesting analogy when you think about it, because in our world, we can't understand why anyone wouldn't want to do what we do. Be able to build a residual, have awesome products that you can share, be around people that are positive and uplifting and always looking for something new and different in life, really. And to us, we're just all the norm. And to our family, we're the Marilyns. Don't you love it? I love that analogy, and I wanted to share that story with you because maybe you can pass it on. If this video helped you, please comment and share. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.